let's see. We're live. Let me make sure this is shared out. And why is it not showing? Come on. Ah, there we go. How you doing?
Been doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Man, doing dang near Skippy.
I heard. I think
All
all
right.
of it.
Huh?
I think as long as we nobody's kicking dirt on us and we're able to wake up and breathe the next morning, we all do good.
That's right. Amen to that. Let's see. Excuse me. And so, oh yeah. All right, we got 0 people watching. Let's get some people in here. All right, let's see. Let me go to Twin Hunters, Outdoor Ministries. Got one person watching. All right, and let's see. Oh, we got 2 people. How y'all doing? Y'all comment. Y'all comment. Let us know where you're watching from. Let's see. Come on, computer. Go here. Hey, Danny Cheek, you got one. All right. How you doing there, Danny? Man, so what do you think of that post I tagged you in?
Oh man, I loved it.
Like, so Greenville, okay. Well, shout out to Danny Cheek from Greenville. Great to have you. So I'm gonna go ahead and talk about that story real quick. Wilson from Georgiana. Hey, Wilson. Good to have Wilson Edie in here. So Angie married. How you doing, Angie? So, so Saturday, uh, Saturday I was having a pretty good day, and then it just went to garbage, and it went to garbage pretty bad, and then I get to the racetrack, and Miss Marilyn. For those that's watching that don't know, I'm the announcer at Tri-County where my friend Joseph races at, and so Miss Marilyn, she is talking to me about passing out some T-shirts, throwing them out in the stands during intermission. And I was like, yeah, this is exciting. I'll do that. So had 2 bags of shirts, one for this side of the stands and one for the other side. I was like, yeah, this is pretty cool. I'm excited. Well, then she was telling me about the concert I've been talking about trying to do up there. And so we're going to try to do this concert next year, which is great,
Okay.
and or next season. And so we was talking about that. Then my day perked up pretty good because I was already fired up and excited. I was like, you know what, my day was going pretty bad up to this point, but now it's better. And so then uh, I walked out the tower and I heard a bunch of sirens. And so I had talked with Joseph earlier that night. I saw him out there, and I heard a bunch of sirens. And I got to looking. I said, "What in the world's everybody looking at?" And right there in front of the racetrack has a huge dollar store they just built and opened. And so the I've seen a bunch of cars out there. I mean, a bunch of fire trucks like 3 or 4 fire trucks, sirens blaring everywhere. I said, what in the world? Must have been a wreck. So I get on the PA system and I say, hey, if y'all would please say a prayer for whoever's involved in this wreck. And it looked like a wreck in front of the racetrack. And I said, please pray for the fire department, whatever I said. And so, like a minute or two later, I walk out on the deck there, and this girl walks up. I don't know who she was, but she was in the stands, and she says, "Hey, I got an update on that wreck." I said, "Okay." She said it was a family of 5. The car burned, and they got a wreck, and the car burned. I said, "My gosh." She said, "But they're okay though. Word is they're okay." I said, "Man, that's great." So I walk in. It may have been a few minutes later after I had asked them to pray, but I just remember her coming up and telling me that. Well, then um, at that point, I said, "Okay, good, we got a praise report." And so I go about my business, and we're doing the hot laps, and then next thing I know, get a knock on the door, and I look over at Jamie that works in the tower with me. She's in the room next to me doing the scoring. I said, "Hey, somebody's at the door." She said, "I think that's for you." I said, "What?" Okay. And I walk over, open the door, and there stands a guy holding his little girl, his little daughter, and he's holding her. And the guy says, "Hey man, I was told that you were the one that asked over the PA if it would pray for the ones that got out in the wreck out there." And he said, "Well, I just want to thank you for doing that because that was me and my family out in the wreck. It was 5 of us in that car." And then he said that I swear I heard him say this. Now, I may be wrong on this. Somebody correct me. But I swear I heard him say that somebody was going 92 miles an hour and hit his family head on. And he said, if I hadn't asked everybody to pray, they wouldn't have got out of that car alive. He said the car burned to the ground and he said he lost everything. And I ain't gonna lie, I lost it. I like got super emotional and I started crying a little bit. And I tried to kind of keep my composure. And I told the guy, I said, man, I said, God loves you. He said, oh, I know, God's great or something, whatever he said. He confirmed he was a believer by saying that. And then I said, can I pray for you? And I just prayed for him on the spot there. And then after I did that, then I said, here's some free merch because we had some merch we was giving out most of the season. So I gave him like a T-shirt and some other merch, and I said, man, I'm so glad you shared that with me. And then he said something, and I said, hey, you let me know. You send me a message. You let me know. And I got some of these free tickets we've been giving out. And I said, I got 5 free tickets for y'all for the next race. And he thanked me, and then he went on out. And I told Jamie, I said, Jamie, did you hear what that guy just said? And I told her, and she said, no, I didn't hear it. And I told her. Well, then when everything was over that night, I went and found Isaiah and was talking with him in the pits. And I said, hey, did you hear what happened? And he said, no. And then I told him. He said, oh, and he knew that family. He didn't call no names, but he said, oh, they come to every single race. And the guy told me he hadn't missed a race all year. And then Isaiah said, yeah, they come to every single race. And after every race is over, they come and find me in the pits and say hi to me. I said, wow. And sure enough, the guy messaged me on Facebook. It was something Smith. I can't remember. But I told him I would save him the free tickets. And like that was such a powerful story that he told me that I had no idea. And then I told Isaiah, I said, man, I was having a pretty bad day. And then he said, well, he said, God knew you needed that, is why he sent that guy up there.
Yes, sir.
And that was just so cool to me. That made my day. I forgot about my minuscule problem that I went through, and because that was way greater than my little problem. So that was the cool testimony I have for the weekend. And then a lady commented on my Facebook post, and she said, Miss Becky told me, she said, well, God used you to help him. Wow, that's cool.
Yes, sir. And to me, I mean, he's that way. I mean, he will use you to help anybody. I mean, I've
Amen.
like in my story, with my brother. I have two brothers, and back in December of 2009, me and my littlest brother got into an accident, and it put both of us. Well, they actually life flighted both of us from Georgiana to Mobile, and I spent from 2009 all the way up to New Year's in the hospital. Uh, deep down myself felt that my brother did not make it, but with the shape that I was in, to be honest, Mr. Jared, I mean, I just didn't feel I needed to live no more. I mean, I had the tubes run down my throat, breathing for me. Went through numerous surgeries on my hands, and I've still have letters that I was writing people that come visiting me, and I don't even see how I was writing them. Don't remember writing them, and I remember, most people would say, that you just saying that you don't know, that's not what happened. But I felt my brother in the room telling me, hey, look, you need to you need to keep going. It ain't your time to go. You need to get better, get out, and go on and do something with your life, help people. So it went on. The doctors come in, and they I remember the doctor coming in and asking me, if I was ready to live. And he said, if so, shake your head yeah, or shake your head no. He said, either way, you're gonna live. And I shook my head yeah, and they went to getting the tubes out. They couldn't figure out exactly why I was not breathing on my own, but when they had incubated me, they had done something, and it wouldn't let me breathe through my mouth. So they realized that I could breathe by hooking a thing up to the thing that was run through my nose, and that's when they went to pulling everything out. And, that woke my eyes. I mean, I woke up after that and realized, hey, you're sent here. You can either do good or do bad. Either way, God's gonna still love you. I mean, he wants you to do right. He wants you to tell people about him, and you know he still loves you. I just feel that most people take it for granted, and they talking about, well, they ain't nothing good happened in my life. God don't do nothing good for me. I mean, I tell them like it is. You got up, put your feet on the floor this morning, was able to breathe, right? Yeah. Well, if that ain't him doing something good enough for you, then what else do you got to have? And
Amen.
you know, everybody has a testimony. As long as they wake up the next morning, that ought to be the best testimony you have right there. You
That's
woke
right.
up. You know, I like I say, I don't have a lot. I'm not rich by any means, but I'm satisfied with what I have. I'm thankful for the good Lord for letting me have what I have. And you know, it's just so much just went on in my life. With my little brother, my middle brother. I lost my little brother. Actually, he died. I found out later that he actually died that Saturday. That was a Friday. We done that, got life flighted. He actually passed away Saturday. He was burnt
Wow.
so bad. He was burnt from the inside out, and they couldn't keep medicine on him or anything. And you know, I just started feeling that he wouldn't want me to grieve myself over him. He wouldn't want me to grieve losing him. And I went on and started doing like I was supposed to. I ended up losing my dad. Valentine's wasn't short. Wasn't too long after that. Lost my dad after Valentine's. I lived with my dad. My dad raised me. He didn't really raise me in church like he should have, but I was done old enough to say, hey, I can go to church or I can not go to church. And, I'm in church now. We go to Grace Baptist Church down there in McKenzie, or sort of almost in Evergreen. Mr. Roy Smith, he's the pastor down there. And I mean, we really love going. It makes us feel, welcome. Uh, I love the way he preaches. And everybody there makes me feel at home. Mr. Danny, the man that you was just speaking to on there, he goes down there. He is he plays music and all, and I actually sat down one day and I wrote a song, and he helped me come up with the help me put the words and all that in order, and it's called that's my God. And he sings it a lot. I don't really sing it. I don't have the voice for singing. If I would start singing, the dogs would probably start howling. But he does a good job singing it for me, and I'm really grateful that he took it and put music to it and sings it. Uh, and the deal with my little brother, he's hey, if I can get him to come on your show, that's a testimony for sure. Because I mean, that boy, he was headed down a long dark road. He was facing prison time. We got him, finally got him. He actually ended up getting arrested. We finally actually got him into drug rehab that the Christian New Beginnings Christian based drug rehab down there in Bruton that Bo Bale opened. We got him in it, and I mean, he done wonders with that boy. He got him straight. We actually seen him Saturday before the races. I don't get to see him a lot. We actually went by, seen him, went to McDonald's, and we had ourselves a good time, and then we come to the races, and we shooting. He said something about he may try to go with us November the 2nd. We're gonna hopefully maybe get him with us. He's been wanting to go with me and watch the races. He actually wants to go watch me race, and I just ain't had a chance, to get him over there. Normally, when I go race, he's busy or he's, tired from work. He's doing real good. I mean, I'm thankful for what the good Lord done with him. You know,
Man, that's awesome. What a powerful story there.
yeah.
So what year was all that when all that happened?
With the accident, it was back in 2009, December 2009. It happened December the 11th of 2009, and he had passed away. The 12th, which was the next day. That was a Saturday. Uh, I stayed in the hospital from then all the way up to New Year's. Having my hands reworked, the skin. They had to take skin from my legs and put on my hands. Uh, it was very painful, but I was thankful every day for the good Lord. Saying, "Hey, look, you got to go on. You got to toughen up and get on now." So,
Wow.
uh,
Man, that's pretty powerful. I am so thankful that I got to see you Saturday at the race. That was
oh man,
I'm
I
glad
am
we had
too.
that talk.
Yes, sir. I was glad to see you. I know I hadn't heard you from you in a while, and I had to end up starting a new Facebook page, and I still haven't got a lot of my friends that I was friends with, still trying to get all that situated. I mean, it's a mess when something like that happens, but
Yeah, because I got to looking on Facebook and I said, I sent you a message on there. I said, wait a second. I looked, I said, I ain't seen a new post on there. And I got to looking, I said, oh, he's got a new page. You must have been hacked. And then you told me you lost your password.
yeah, I try to keep all that wrote down now. My wife, she'll tell me, you need to write it down so you'll remember it.
and,
It's
and
very
of course now you got it down pat now.
yes, sir. I got it where it automatically stay logged in now. I just go in there. I don't even log out. It just stays on. She's like, why don't you just stay logged in? Then you won't have to worry about it. Okay, well, that'll work then. So that's what I do now.
There you go.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
so how old was your brother?
let's see. David, now don't get me telling a story. He was, I would probably, I don't keep up with birthdays no more. He was roughly probably around 20, 22, 21, 22, 23 years
Wow.
old. And he, I hated it. You know, he was the only one out of the three of us that graduated school. You know, I was bad in school. I'm not gonna lie. I was a bad little boy in school. You know, and down here they had passed a law to where whoever you're living with has to, you know, has to have custody of you in order for you to go to the school. And my mom had custody of me, but I was living with my daddy, and she wouldn't sign custody of me over. And I'm the type of person, you know, I you could talk about me all you want. You can take whatever you want from me, but no, when you start talking about somebody in my family that I truly love, then you know we're gonna have problems. And we had a boy. He kind of talked about my grandmother, and you know I was staying with her and my daddy there. He was driving a truck, so he wasn't hardly at home all the time. And I told him, I said, well, look, man, I mean, you say whatever you want about me, but you know, you keep talking about my grandmother and my daddy, we're gonna have problems. And he said something else. I kind of short fused temper, went off on him, got into a fight with him, throwed him through the back glass of the teacher's car, and got suspended. And the principal told my uncle because he come pick me up. Well, you know, if his daddy don't have custody of him, we can't allow him to come to school. So I said, well, okay, then I'll start going to night school. Well, I ended up working a couple jobs and paying for the teacher's car back glass window to be replaced. And I showed up at the night school class, and when I opened the door, there was the teacher that I throwed the boy through her back glass. I said, well, how are you doing? She said, I'm doing fine now that I got a new back glass. I said, okay. And I sat down, and she come over there and she told me, she said, I'm going to keep you here as long as I can keep you. I said, yes, ma'am. That'll work. And went on. She never would let me go take my test to get my GED. So I said, well, okay, maybe I'm supposed to make it on my own. So I ended up, I quit night school. I started actually helping my dad and his boss man in the woods, being a grease monkey. I greased all their equipment for them. You know, I thought I was a big boy then. You know, 16 years old, got a job, so I was doing good. And hey, God's blessed me from there on. You know, He's let me learn how to run equipment. And, you know, that's what I do now. I run excavators, bulldozers. I got a good job. I've been with this job probably, so if I had to say, roughly 20, 21 years. You know,
Really?
I've
Wow.
been with them for a long time, and they they treat me good. You know, I'm like family to them, so I don't
You're a
plan
jack of
on.
all trades.
Yes, sir. I try to be anyway. You know, my daddy always told me if somebody's trying to show you something, whether you know how to do it or you don't, you best learn how, because 9 times out of 10 they can do it an easier way than you're doing it. So I've learned to, you know what, learn. You know, that's with the racing ordeal. that kind of come from my uncle Ansley Hooks. I spent most of my time with him on Saturday nights. There's Saturday nights I remember when I was little, probably 9, 10 years old, waking up, leaving from one racetrack and waking up at another race. I'm like, okay, I might get home eventually. And that's pretty much how the racing got entered in my blood. Uh, I did play around with some of his cars and drive them. Now, starting how I got started racing, my granddad, which is my my uncle Wilson, that was him. He's watching. It's his dad. We He kind of wanted to go to the races, and we carry him to the races. And I was told that weekend that I wasn't going in the pits, and I told myself after that, I said, "Well, I'm not going to go in the pits. I'm not going to buy a pit pass." Well, we uh we ended up leaving and going to Bruton, and just the whole way down there to the racetrack, something kept telling me buy a pit pass when I get down there. I didn't, I just kept putting it off. No, I'm not going to do it. So I get down there and I tell myself, all right, I'm going to buy a pit pass. So I get up there to the window, I buy my pit pass, and we all go in the stands. We're sitting in the stands, and I just, to be honest, I kind of just closed my eyes and I said, God, if there be any chance that you're willing to let me own a race car in my lifetime, show me, give me a sign. And I, told him I was thankful for what all he's done and said amen. And we started watching the race, and Mr. Thomas Davis, he owned the car at the time. He was out there getting ready to come on the track. My grandpa looked at me. He said, "You want another race car, don't you?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Well, I tell you what." He said, "You find you a car that you want, we'll see about getting it." I said, "Okay." And I just sat there, and they let the bomber cars come out, and the first car that come out was Mr. Thomas's car, and it had a for sale sign on it. He said, "Look, there's your one right there." He said, "I kind of like that." I said, "Well, I do too." He said, "Well, go see what he wants for it." So we watched him go around the track, and as soon as he got done, I went in the pits. I bought that pit pass. Something told me to, and I
Uh-huh.
bought the pit pass, and I went in there and talked to him about the car. He told me what he wanted for it, and I said, "Okay." I went back and I sat down and I talked to my granddad. I said, "He wants $3,000 for it." And my granddad says, "Whew, that's too much." And he turns around and he turns back around and looks at me. He says, "I tell you what," he said, "you come up with 1,500 and I'll pay the other 1,500." And I said, "Deal." So, that's what I did for the next couple of weeks, was save my money, and I got my 1,500. I went and told him, and he went and got 1,500, and me and him, we went and got the race car.
That's
And
awesome.
I've been in it since. I've been out for a couple of seasons. We've been working on my trailer and trying to get us a house fixed up nice and all. So, but we ended up getting a new car. I kind of told you Saturday night how we got it, and we're in the process of getting it going. Uh,
So
our plan,
you drove the 330 bomber car,
yes, sir. I drove the 330 bomber car.
and I love them colors on there, the green and the blues. That just pops.
Yeah, I didn't. I was thinking about painting it, and I was in Walmart, and I looked up, and I said, "Well, I'm going to spray paint it." So I bought some green and bought some blue paint. Went home, and I was trying to figure out how I taped that line through the center to where I can separate colors. Uh, I done all that. Now, before it used to be black and purple, and then it went to black and yellow. And I mean, I hand painted all the numbers on it, letter and all that was hand painted. When I changed it to green and blue, I decided to run stickers, and we we got this, and I'm running. Most people they might know him as Bo Bale. This is going to be more of a memories car of him, and I plan on running his number. We're going to run it number 8, and that's probably going to be my number from now on. Is number 8. And I mean, if you like it, then you really gonna love this car when we get done with it. I really, I've, I've seen the design of how we're gonna do the numbers. Oh, and I mean, I really believe it's gonna be a nice car.
So Wilson wants to know. Ask him about why the number 330 came about.
Well, that's actually a number, kind of you want to put in your past. I couldn't figure it out, and the ordeal with that was when I was married before. That was pretty much the number. We got married the 30th day of the third month, and I decided, well, 330, and I said, well, if I put my race car number 330, I won't never forget an anniversary. So they won't nobody fuss at me. We forgot our wedding anniversary, and so
Hey, I'm glad you brought that up, Wilson. That's funny.
yeah, yeah. I had
That's
to
the
get a
first I've ever heard of somebody remembering a
yeah,
wedding anniversary by their race car number. Hey, Dougie.
yeah, yeah. I said, well, the good thing about it, I never forgot the anniversary. I could go buy something, and then when it come time, I can hand it to her, and she said, well, what's this? I'm like, okay, I didn't forget, you forgot, so it's your ordeal. Uh,
That's funny.
yeah,
That black and blue color, like in my opinion, I think black's an ugly color. I've always hated the color black because, like, as a photographer, my camera does not want to focus on a black car. Then plus it's dark out there, and then
yeah,
it just doesn't stand out. But with
yeah.
that blue and green, it just pops. It stands out. It's something different, and nobody does blue and green. Nobody green means money, in my opinion.
There
So
you go.
I mean, and using a race car, black and white. That's all it is. That's all you ever see. And then every now and then you'll see awesome reds. You'll see like Dougie there. He had the awesome red paint scheme on his
Yeah,
car. And then and you see your reds, but you never really see a lot of blues or greens. And I love the patriotic colors too, but that just pops. I can't wait to see what your new car is going to look like.
oh yes, sir. Well, you just picture the color of your blue truck, and that's about what it's gonna be. And it's gonna be a
Ooh.
patriotic like car. Uh, it's gonna have a good bit of Christian stuff on it. Uh, I run God is good on the back of my car for the
Uh-huh.
long. Uh, Bo, he actually told me the night we raced Southern. He said, "Look," he said, "I know God's good. I'm just tired of reading it. You got to come up with something else to put back there." And when I actually went to doing the stickers, the guy that done my stickers, uh, Purvis out of Greenville, I was telling him, and I said, "Look," I said, "I run God is good on the back of my car." I said, I want something close to that, but I'm still trying to figure it out. He said, "How about all the time?" And I said,
Oh,
"Well," I said, "All the time." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, God is good all the time." I said, "Perfect. That'll work. Do it." And
that's cool.
now the back of the new car here, we're trying to come up. I'm trying to figure something out with it. Uh, I actually seen an ordeal on the back of something the other day, and it said, "Do you follow?" It asked a question. It didn't really say, but it asked a question. It said, "Do you follow Jesus this close?" Now, with this being a new car, I got to get used to it. I got to work all the kinks and bugs out of it. So I know there ain't gonna be too many people, behind me. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
behind everybody else. So I said, well, no, that wouldn't really work that good because there ain't gonna be nobody running behind you until you get used to it. I said, well, but I don't know. We've been thinking about something to write on the back of it. And it hadn't really come to me yet, but I'm sure God will put it in my head when He wants to put it there for me. Uh,
So here's a question for you.
yes, sir.
What do you call Jesus working out?
What do you call Jesus working out? Oh, I wouldn't know what to say with that.
Jehovah Fitness.
Jehovah Fitness. There you go.
Hey,
Yeah,
look, I might be just a broke redneck, but one day if I ever get rich, I'm gonna have me a gym, and it's gonna be called Jehovah Fitness. And when you walk in, it's gonna be a picture in the background of Jesus deadlifting.
there you go. I've had one saying that I thought I have a sinner, I've heard of sinners saved by grace, and I thought about putting something on there like sinner saved by Jesus, instead of doing the grace, add Jesus in it instead of grace. I know it's the
Yeah.
same thing, but to me, I like it better with Jesus on it.
Yes.
I hadn't really thought about that. I've thought about putting on the back of it, racing for Christ. You know, I will eventually figure it out. Uh, I'm worried that once I get the car together, I'm going to not want to race it because it's going to look too good. I mean, uh,
Well, let me see if I can find something. If I can find something, I'll show you something cool. I don't know if I got them right here with me or not. Let's see. Uh, so do you know? I don't know if you know him or not, but do you know my friend Ron Southern?
I don't think so.
He is the so he works for the Southern Dirt Track Report with me and Artie, and he is the wish I could find it. I guess I got it right here. I had a bunch of them, but anyways, he is the track chaplain and the announcer at Hattiesburg Speedway over in Hattiesburg, Mississippi,
Yes, sir.
and he's got a ministry. I'm gonna have to send you his link, but
Do
he's got
that.
a ministry he does, and it's called Racing Towards Jesus Ministries.
Oh, that
And that's really cool how he come up with that. And you like to ask him how he come up with a name, but
huh?
I've got some Racing Towards Jesus Ministries decals, and I'll give you one to put on your race car.
We're sure sticking on there.
But
Oh,
yeah, it's really neat. It's a really neat name. I don't know what I did with that.
you,
So
you like
everybody that,
you like me, Mr. Jared? You put something up and forget where you put it.
oh
I got
yes.
my wife now. I put it up and she'll move it, and then I have to come in and ask. Well, I put it here. Well, I put it over here, so I'll remember where you put it.
At least we not as bad as our president.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, I just if we can't get God back in the White House and in the schools, I just it's bad. I mean, it is
Yes,
literally bad.
it is.
I don't
We need
even think.
God now more than ever.
Yeah, I don't even think they even say the Pledge of Allegiance. And that's something I look forward to every morning before school. Getting into school, going in your classroom, standing up, saying the Pledge of Allegiance, and say, we always said a prayer, but I don't even think they do none of it no more. I mean, I think
No, I don't believe it,
you'll
do.
probably end up getting kicked out of school just to mentioning something like that.
And really, the only ones that would say it are like the private schools. Like,
That's it.
hey, Brian Parker. Yeah, Brian says he likes that Mag Feeder shirt. So,
Well, I got one of the ones on that you actually throwed out. Me and
oh, that's cool.
we actually caught two. We caught one, and the little grand young, and she'll probably have it on the Saturday when we come trick or treating. She will have a little Halloween costume on, but she actually got it. She would come in. Said, I got me a shirt. I got a shirt. That man throws a shirt at me, and I got it. Yeah,
All
but
right, so I'm
yeah.
gonna look. So do you deer hunt any?
Well, I do. I used to. I hadn't really. I hadn't really. Well, I hunted some last year, but I didn't really get a spot. This year to hunt, and I've been trying to find somewhere that I can a hunting club or something I can get into. But I got focused on the race car and kind of didn't worry about hunting for a while. I said, well, it's too late to try to worry about going hunting now or finding somewhere to hunt now. I said, well, I just keep focusing on the race car. I said, that way, it'll be ready for next year. I said, everybody else is out hunting a deer. I said, I'll be working on the race car. But
So,
I so my
let's see.
boss
All
lady,
right.
they hunt a lot, and she actually, if she gets a deer, like cleaning it or fooling with it, she'll call me and ask me if I want it or something, and I tell her yeah, but if I do hunt it, it could probably be right here in my backyard. I got more deer here in my backyard and the front yard than I do anyway.
All right, so I'm gonna see if I can find this. I'm gonna show you three different things. So I had James Reed come on my show a few weeks ago, and let's see. Let me look this up. Oh shoot, I was just looking at it. What was that? Uh, all right. Let me look this verse up. I'm gonna read this verse to you. Uh, 23. All right. Let's see. All right. Here we go. Cool. Whoa. Wrong. That's not. All right. So let's see. All right. So James Reed came on my show a few weeks back. Super awesome guy. I met him at the World Deer Expo, and he's got a business called Mag Feeders. And so Brian there is friends with him, but the shirt is Mag Feeders, and I got this from him. And the verse is Genesis 27:3. And so the verse says, "Now then, take your weapons, your quiver, and your bow, and go out to the field and hunt game for me." And it's such a powerful verse. And then now I'm going to show you his Facebook here. So I'm going to flip this around. So what it is, it's a deer feeder. In my opinion, it's the best deer feeder on the market. Any of you people in here, I'm sure I got a bunch of rednecks in here that deer hunt. If any of you guys that deer hunt, you need to check out Mag Feeders. It's better than Moultrie. It's better than any of these brands that are made in China of cheap plastic garbage, cheap Chinese garbage. Don't buy that crap. Buy American made, and Mag Feeders is what I would suggest. And he's a phenomenal guy, and it's a super heavy duty polymer like plastic deal. He can explain it better than I can. But I'm going to show you this. Let me flip this around. See settings, camera, facing back. All right, so I'm gonna flip this around. So this is his Facebook, and then that's the logo that's on the front of my shirt there, which is really cool. Mag Outdoors 27.3, and he's got a website which is cool, magfeeders.com. And let's see. So I'm gonna show you what these feeders look like. But there was one that was harvested recently. But if you see how that feeder is made, the top part spins off. He puts
Uh-huh.
it on a tree or a post, and then this section right here is where the corn comes in. Well, he designed it to keep the coons out of your deer feeders.
Yep.
And it's a pretty cool design. He's got pictures of bears. There's a picture of a bear trying to tear it down. Oh, he got videos. There's the orange one, which is the one I like, the solid orange. But yeah, that's just a neat design. If anybody's deer hunting, they want to support a good Christian company that's American made, then go check out Mag Feeders. They got a website there. All right, let me flip this back around. Camera. Yeah, I just love that verse 27:3. Go out and hunt some game for me. I love eating deer meat, so
Oh yeah, I love eating deer meat.
smoked deer sausage is my favorite.
There you go. We kind of do a lot of fishing. My wife, she likes fishing. It's not very seldomly you find a woman that likes fishing.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's right.
the only thing she refuses to do is put the worms on her hook. So normally, what I do is we'll get her some crickets, and she's fine with that. She'll bait it. She'll take the fish off of her hook. Everything. Uh,
That's awesome. I
it
like
don't
fishing. I
bother
don't
my.
do it a lot, but do what now?
I said it don't bother my fishing. You know, while I'm over there fishing, I ain't got to worry about it. Can you come put the worm on my hook for me? Would you come take this off? She does it herself.
That is awesome. She
I'll
ain't
give her.
scared to do it.
Oh, I'll give her the crickets and I'll take the worms. You know, if she sees me catching fish, then she'll ease over there. Can you put one of them on my hook? And I won't bother you no more.
So, if anybody's interested, so while I got you on here, since you're into racing like I am, I want to invite everybody that's watching. Come to Tri-County Speedway, November the 2nd. It's gonna be awesome. We're having our Halloween hayride. We got the tractors. We got plenty of tractors like we had last year. We're gonna have plenty of tractors, plenty of trailers. Bring your kids. The kids are gonna ride on the trailers, and they're gonna drive them through the pits and on the track. And the drivers are gonna pass out candy to all the kids. So November the 2nd, and then November the 9th and the 10th, we're doing our Legacy Dirt Track Championship race. And that Saturday we're doing our first night of the championship races, and we have the factory stops on schedule, which is our special guest. Then the next day, that Sunday, we're having a free breakfast buffet at 9:30. I know us rednecks and us Baptists like to eat, so oh, Dougie says y'all need to let Hooks drive a tractor. Boy, if he drive a tractor, they ain't gonna be with one speed, and it's gonna be wide open. I can promise you that, Dougie.
They just keep, they just keep me out the big hole over there. You know.
Oh, look, you know what's gonna happen? He's gonna pull out his inner Bo Duke, and we're gonna hear him yell "Yeehaw!" and that tractor's gonna go flying.
Well, I didn't really pay it no mind, I found it on YouTube. I really love. I've liked going to Bruton. Miss Marilyn, Mr. Chuck. I mean, to me, they're all good people. Uh, we like a lot of each other's posts, and I really love going to the track. They're real nice. I mean, it's a real nice facility of people out there. Miss Marilyn, she is just as nice as can be. Me and my wife and the grand youngins seen her in the pits, and she said she hadn't seen me in a while, and I really love racing there. I've had some fun times in Britain. I actually gave everybody a scare. I had the mayor down here and his daughter, which she cuts my hair. She's a barber. She cuts my hair. Then we had the chief of police. They actually went and watched me race there one night, and that was actually the night that Dougie told me to run high and stay to the high of the track. That I was, that's where everybody's running, and hey, I'm the one to take advice. And I took his advice, and I got a little too high, got up on the guardrail, and I went for a ride. I mean, I jumped the guardrail, come back down in front of all the cars, and went into the biggest hole down there at Tri County. Uh,
Wow.
you can actually find the video. I would have to find it. Once I find it, I'll share it. send it to you. I don't know. You may have not have been there then, but the car was black then. And I
Wow.
mean, you actually see in the video point blank me hit the guardrail, go up on it, come back down, and go into the hole, and you don't see the car no more. I mean, it
Jeez.
literally disappeared. And, I kind of got a little name from the people that watched me that night. They called me Houdini because the chief of police, he said he turned around, he looked at the mayor, which is Mr. Frank. He said, "Well, where's Benugo? I don't see him no more." He said, he went over there in that big hole." He said, "Well, I can't see the car." He said, "No, you don't see the car." I mean, you couldn't see the car. I couldn't see nothing until I actually stood on the roof of the car. And
Wow.
I got down. They come over there and tried getting it out. Mr. Chuck, I remember him coming over there, and they hooked the record to it. And he's like, the record broke. It broke the boom trying to get it out. And he said, "Look,"
Jeez.
he said, "I got something that'll get it out, but you're going to have to wait till the end of the race." I said, "Well, I'd like to get it out and, see if I can get it back on track." He said, "Look, I can't let you do that until you look this car over." And I said, "Okay." I got on a little golf cart and rode with them back in pits. And I watched the rest of the race that night. And we went back down there to the car, and I was like, "Well, okay, I got to see what he's got to get it out." And I can hear tracks clicking. I said, "Yeah, I know what's coming." He brought the bulldozer out there, and that's how we got the car out. Uh,
Dang.
you know, it actually, everything would have been good that night. They had a good berm on the track. When I got high, the shock and the trailing arm mount on the bottom of the rear end caught it. And instead of it digging in the dirt, it just ripped it clean and loose off the rear end, which turned the rear end crooked, and that sent me to the guardrail, and I went for a ride then. I was actually in the hole still trying to get, I was thinking I was going to back out. And I started slinging mud up on the exhaust, and it started smoking, and I could smell gas from the vent tube of the fuel cell. I was like, with the smoke and the smell of gas, I said, "Man, the car's on fire. Let me get out." And I think Miss Jamie, matter of fact, I think she was doing the race receivers that night, and I can hear her, asking if I was okay, and I was trying to get out and let everybody know that I was okay, and I was sore, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, Dougie. So Dougie was talking about the tractors earlier. He said he would be the slowest tractor on the property. And then he says, and then he talking about that story, he said, and that's a true story.
Yeah, yeah. I come in that night. I thought the car was running hot. Oh yeah, I hadn't been in the car really long enough to learn the car, and I thought it was running warm. We was under a caution. He come over there and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "The car's running hot." I told him. He said, "The car ain't running hot." And he said, "Well, you're under caution. Go on and spray it and cool it down anyway." And my neighbor, he was spraying it down with water. And that's when he told me, he said, "You go out there and run the high side of the track. Everybody's running the high side. Stay up high." And, I took his advice. I kind of took it a little too much. I went a little too high. I, I've known Dougie a good while. He's helped me a lot. Advice, helping me with the car, doing tire pressures and all that. He's been a good help to me with doing all that. I
well,
actually went. Go ahead.
you know what they say. If you're gonna do it, you better do it big. So
That's it. If you're gonna do it big. That's it. I thought that too when I went to Baker. I told him, I said, "Well," I said, "Dougie," I said, "I got the rear end locked now." He said, "All right." And we changed some tires around for the setup for the locked rear end, knowing, and they tell you how the good Lord works. If he thinks you're cheating in the wrong way, he's gonna let you know it. And I honestly believe he let me know it that night because I wasn't supposed to have the rear end locked, and I locked the rear end. Saying, "Well, everybody telling me to lock my rear end, I give faster." So I locked my rear end. We done a tire setup. I got out there playing around on that track in Baker, and didn't know it, spun out, broke the axle, and I actually drove from turn 2 of the back straightaway all the way around to turn 4 before they stopped me and told me, "Hey, look, your axle and tires on the back straightaway over there. Just stay right here. I'll send somebody to come get you." And they come pick me up and took me in the pits. And I remember Dougie, he come over there. He said, "Well, if they don't nobody know your rear end's locked, they do now, because the announcer said if that 330 car didn't have a locked rear end, he wouldn't have been able to drive halfway around the racetrack." But yeah,
I'm sure
I don't.
Dougie remembers that.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure we was trying to go. We was gonna put it back together, but we couldn't find. I couldn't find an axle, and I just decided, oh well, wait for later.
So was that did they have the wall up there then?
On the back straightaway.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and Baker. No, they didn't. I haven't been to Baker in a while. I
So
got
the
to where I
past
could.
2 seasons they got that new wall up there on both,
Okay.
and I'm glad they got that wall there now.
Oh, you on the back straightaway? Yeah, well, yeah. I think they did have a wall there. There was a wall there because I about sideswiped it one night.
Well, you can ask Dougie. Do you know my buddy Chris Hartman?
Chris Hartman. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Chris was over there one night. This is no lie. I was helping them one night, and Chris went over there with a Ford Jesus car, and that was his dad, and I think Poppy had that name for Jesus, and for years. So he went with the same paint scheme. It was the candy corn car, the Halloween special. I called it. It was Kubota orange with John Deere yellow, and I won't never forget. He was over there, and it was probably 20 pure stocks over there. And this is back when all the heavy hitters, Dougie was probably in the race. Kevin Mitchell may have been in it. I know Tommy Lowry was in it. And I kid you not, Chris had the fastest car on the racetrack. And he was passing people left and right. He was blowing by them. And then next thing I know, they didn't have the wall back then, whatever year it was. I can't remember what year. Dougie can tell you. But they didn't have that wall on the backstretch there. Next thing I know, Chris thought he was Bo Duke, and he jumped it like the General Lee, hit that back wall. Yeah, just sailed off in the air. All I seen was his car go out of sight. And
Man.
he said when he landed, all he seen was a stump. And bam, hit that stump, drove on out on the racetrack, drove up, yeah, 2019. He drove up to second place and was fixing to take the lead for the win and runs out of gas with 2 laps to go.
Uh, that would be some of my luck.
That's some buzzard right there.
Yeah. Now I did have a good race one time down there. Me and Robbie, we got together. I mean, I didn't fault him. I wasn't mad at him. It was racing. Uh, I was watching him, and I seen, in turn 1 and 2, he pushes. He went to the top of the track, and I said, "Well, I'm gonna pass him. If he goes back to the top of the track again, I'm gonna pass him." And he did. He went up to the top of the track. I shot down. I was able to stay at the bottom of the track. Drove around him. Took the white flag, and I was happy. I was proud. I said, "Yeah, I'm fist to really, really win a race." And then me and him got together coming out of 4, and I wasn't mad. It was good racing to me. We come in, the door slammed with each other, and both of us crossed the checkered flag. He was just enough ahead of me to get it. And
Oh man.
they, there was a lot of people that wanted to watch more racing like that. It wasn't too long after that. My motor kind of wanted to go to sleep on me. It wasn't running good.
Dang.
But I enjoyed it. I had a good race. I took second that night. I had one good night Baker. Uh, I was racing old Charles McDaniels. He's a good buddy and bomber that I'm friends with, and he drives the 31 car. Used to drive the 31 car, and we was running Baker, and both me and him, we was out there. He was, you know, right there with me, and then gradually on through the race, I'm sitting here like, well, okay, I'm going into turn one, and he's on the back straightaway. I was like, what is going on? The car felt like it was still running good. I couldn't figure it out. I took second that night, and I said, well, okay, then, something's wrong. And I got out here, because back then I rented a U-Haul trailer to haul my race car to the track. And I always had to get up Sunday morning and carry the trailer back to the U-Haul company. And I carried it back. I got out there that Saturday. I was out there. Well, most people think I'm crazy because I was out there talking to the car. I was like, "Baby, what went on with you? What happened to you?" And I'm undoing the strap off the front wheel of the driver's side. I go over the tongue of the trailer and get to the passenger side, and I say, well, "I got to figure out why you just lost the ump. What happened to you?" And I kind of looked down the side of the body. The whole passenger side of the body was bent out from the car. I said, well, I didn't hit nobody. I ain't hit nothing. I said, why is the body tore out like that? Okay, well, I'll figure it out. So I undo the straps and I go to get in the car and I reach over there to grab the steering wheel because I don't hang it on the hook when I'm towing the car. I lay it on the passenger side floorboard and I reached to grab the steering wheel and I had half a Baker's racetrack in my car. We got,
Jeez.
we got 25 5-gallon buckets of dirt out that car that day.
Golly.
So I found out why I was actually losing speed. I was gaining weight.
Dang.
I had a piece of metal that was, blocks right there with the front tire where it comes in through the door. There's always a gap there, and the piece of metal, I guess, ended up coming off, and it was constantly that tire just constantly slinging dirt in that hole, and it was building up in there. And I said, "Well, I know why now. I got second place."
So my buddy Marcus has a question. He says, "What does it cost to get into the bomber class? And then, does he know of anyone that wants to sell one?"
Ah, I to tell you to be honest about racing is I read a little thing the other day, and it's the truth. There's a thing on Facebook where it was a woman. She come up with a deal she drives, and she says, if you want to race, what you do is you go in there and you take all your money and go into your shop. And you put it in the floor, and you pour oil and dirt, just mix it all together, and then you light it on fire, and then you put it out, and then you sit there and you piece all that money back together and do it all over again. That's basically the deal with racing. uh, I mean, it just depends. You you know me and you talked before, Mister Jared. I back when Dougie introduced me and you told me how to deal with getting some sponsors, and if you ain't got, you know, I don't have the money to put in a car, to make it run fast. And to me, I do it for fun. I've always loved it. I've always been told, if you ain't having fun doing it no more, you need to sell it because it ain't fit to do nothing but cost you money. And I do run a lot without sponsors. I have some people, they help me with fuel, and Mr. Roy and them, they help me with tires. And, it just all depends on what you want to spend in one. Uh, I do actually know where one is right now. Uh, it basically needs a front clip put on it. The front the front bumper bars put back on it, and the plastic front snout put back on it, and a motor and transmission, and it's race ready. Uh,
Whoo. Yeah.
yeah, my uncle has it. Uh, he's got another one over there. It's actually the frame's bent, but the cage is good. I've actually got the cage, or I'm getting the cage from him because I have another frame, and I plan on putting that cage on my frame. In case something happens with my car that I'm building, I'll have another one to fall back on. Uh, I mean, just tell him if he wants to get up with my uncle or get up with me, I can get up with my uncle and he can look at it. And
And
you
so
know,
your Angie tags Dougie. She says, Dougie, you should see how he drives my car. And then and Marcus says he says, how much does he want for the roller?
uh, I can find out and I'll let you know, Mister Jared. I'm not
Okay.
really sure. Like I say, I don't know how it does have a seat in it. He will need wheels and tires because the wheels and tires that's on it are mine and his, and we just put them on to go to the car. But he will need some wheels and tires for it. But
Cool.
being a Monte Carlo, I probably got a set of stock Monte Carlo rims he could use to put on the car to move it with. But uh, I'll find out for sure. See what he wants.
Okay. Yeah, Marcus was gonna get into the factory stocks, but and factory stocks done got like the street stocks done got too
Yeah.
expensive.
Well,
And but the bomber cars is where it's at.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And then Hiram Ansley Hook says I actually have two.
yeah. That's my uncle. That's him.
Okay. Awesome. Well, howdy, Hiram, your uncle. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Huh.
Marcus. Yeah, and if you want to send him a message, Marcus, Hiram Ansley Hooks. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, Marcus has a factory stock motor. Is 12K just the motor. Wow.
Yeah.
like we in redneck country. We so broke we go broke in our dreams, or we're so broke we're sponsored by a family in Ethiopia.
That's it. But yeah, I yeah, I've everybody I've talked to, they said that racing pure stock it costs a lot more, but you do get a little more money if you don't finish a good position. And that was my big ordeal. Is I go spend $200 and $300 every weekend to get in the racetrack, get there, and then the car tear up or something happen, and I finish dead last, and I leave with $20 or $30. Hey, I said, well, I can't keep doing this. And I just decided I wanted to move up Pier Stock just to see how it goes. We got a good motor built this year. The guy that built the motor, he's real good at building them. He's done it all his life. He's drove them all his life. So we
And
just gonna see.
Marcus says he wants to buy an old cop car and race it. Hey, you can do that because they had a Crown Vic race there Saturday night. They had a
Mhm.
Crown Vic out there racing. Now they didn't have the car tuned right, but the car did start on the pole for the heat race, but ended up getting passed within the first two corners.
Yeah,
But I don't know who that was, but I'm glad to see a Crown Vic out there. You can take a Crown Vic and you can convert it, buy an old cop car, because Grove Hill Police Department's got some old
yeah,
Crown Vics. Every police department or Facebook Marketplace has one, and you can take one of them. And with it being fuel injected, see, one thing I like about the police interceptor packages of the Crown Vics, they have better brakes, they have a better suspension,
yeah.
everything's just beefier, and that's perfect for the racetrack.
Well, the what is it? Deep South down there, I think. There's actually tracks that run what they call a Crown Vic class.
Yeah,
You can't
like
run
Mobile
them.
International Speedway.
Yep.
And
Uh,
Dougie says, you think pure stock is high, then buy a slingshot. And then he says, a Crown Vic won Southern Saturday night. Hey, that's pretty cool.
yeah. I mean, I've seen some I've raced with some Crown Vics, and they good. Bo Bale, that's all he run. I say he was building this, and I got now. Uh, he just wanted to get into the square body car. And, he eventually quit working on it and started back working on his Crown Vic. I mean, he'd have good nights with it. Main thing you got to worry about on that Crown Vic, you can't just go cutting wires. When you got to unplug the stuff, don't cut the wires because when you cut one wire, it's gonna send it to that computer that something's wrong. Then you ain't you. I mean, I had a guy, he was building one, and he went to cutting wires on it, and come to find out, he ended up having to redo the whole wiring harness because he said once he started cutting wires, the computer started reading, problems that was going on with the car, the wire being broke, cut, and it just giving
Oh.
him. Uh, he runs in Montgomery some there, and he actually turned around and built another one and didn't cut the wires. He just run like all the headlight wires and all that, just pulled it all together and taped them up. And he said it runs like a dream.
Dougie says, was 28 bombers at Southern and a Crown Vic won it. Holy cow crap, Batman. That's the most bombers I've ever heard of at a race. My goodness. So who was it that won? Was it Peyton Guy or was it somebody else?
Oh,
Wow, that's amazing. 28 bombers. Man, if we could get 28 bombers on the track at Tri-County, well, you talking about some redneck fun.
man. Whew. Hey, I
Thinking
remember,
about building Zachary a Crown Vic.
we started racing when I started running bomber down there in Bruton. We had a good bit of cars every weekend. Uh, I went and run Southern. It was a Sunday race, and you know, I had me and four other people. I was supposed to finish fifth place that night, and they had me scored to finish eighth place. Which I did talk to the guy about that and all, and we kind of understood later words about it. But I just I kept hitting a hole down there in turn one, and when you hit it, it was like hitting some of the holes down here in the streets where I live. You
Whew.
put a whole new front end under the car when you hit it. I go,
Yeah,
yeah,
Dougie says that was Peyton Guy. I don't know Peyton, but I see him on Facebook a good bit, and he's been wanting to. I know he's been wanting to bring his Crown Vic to Tri County. As long as he fits the rules, I'm sure they'd be glad to have him. As long
yeah.
as it ain't something that's legal at one track, but not legal at the rest of the tracks.
Well, that's what I've been thinking with mine. I put it in my head to go on and move up to pure stop. As it seems right now, if before I ever went to the racetrack, I can take my headers off and change a couple more things and just go on and keep running bomber. But you know, I'm the type that I don't want to stay somewhere long. I want to move up. I mean, I
Yeah, got
hadn't really gotten good enough to do it, but I feel that if I do it, you know, my wife now she supports me in it. She actually had herself a ball Saturday, and she enjoyed it. Ended up getting an Iron Horse late model. I have that. We're gonna be trying to work on that. Maybe get it out there the first of the year and play with it, see how we are with it. Just see if it's something that I want to do. Uh, she didn't really too much like them. She she said now that would be the one that I probably take you to sell. She said because them she said them cars was moving. And I said yeah, they're a lot faster, a lot lighter, but she's supporting me in it. She's helping me with it. Me and her's gotten out there and worked on the car. day after day from 8 o'clock one morning to 8 o'clock that night, just working on the car, getting it ready. Uh, I've done
Yeah,
learned, if you're gonna have something or do something like that, you got to have somebody that's gonna support you, because if you don't, it's just gonna be problems. Uh,
that'd be cool. That'd be cool, Doug. You just see Zachary in a Crown Vic.
Now Zachary, now he can drive.
Oh, he's done one just about every slingshot race this year, but like
He good.
maybe two or three.
Yes, sir.
He is a
I,
wheelman, that junior slingshot.
like I say, Doug, he's been a lot of help to me. If I got a question about something, man, he'll tell you right there. Probably Hooks will blow my phone up asking me something. What about this? What do I do about this? He's
Hmm.
my go-to guy if I got a question about something.
Oh, he's the Bob the Builder of race cars, right?
Yeah, he knows what to do to one. Uh, there's been times that I have literally, I told myself I'm going to see a Dougie and drive my car and see what's wrong with it, and I never did. And I mean, I told my wife, I said, look, I said, if I come home, I said, if we go to the racetrack and on the way down there, I tell you I'm just put Dougie in my car. I said, don't think nothing of it. I said, I'm going to let him see what he can do with it, and then he can tell me what I got to do with it. She said, if that's what you want to do, go for it. So I kind
uh,
of would have done it. He could have probably helped me out a lot more with it.
Speaking of Dougie, he works at Greenville Manufactured Home Sales down there, Mr. Ken Cartwright. So if y'all need a mobile home, Dougie's your man. Him and Ken can hook you up with the best mobile homes in Greenville, Alabama. And oh, there was something else I was going to say too. Shoot, I lost my train of thought. So, you got any sponsors you want to thank?
Who, me?
Yes.
Oh boy, let's see. Well, right now, yeah, I didn't really have many. For the time I did race, I'd like to give Roy Smith and his brother Troy Smith. They helped me. They helped me get tires through that season. Get me some, Cooper Cobras. Everybody told me you're gonna race bomber, you better get on the Cooper Cobras, and they helped me get a full complete set. I mean, I actually I did start finishing the top five. I'd like to thank them. I'd like to thank Troy, with the Rocco's gas station. He's helped me out a lot, with fuel, getting back and forwards to the races. Uh, that's basically right now about it. I didn't never really have too many sponsors. You know,
So, I know what I was going to ask you. Um, Shoot, my mind went blank again. I had it, lost it again. Um, Something to do with a bomber. Uh, oh, shoot, my mind went blank. Oh, how many wins do you have in your racing career? Do you have any wins?
no, none first place wins. I've got three third place wins, three third place wins, three second place wins. I have yet got a first place.
Well, that's
And the,
coming. That's coming.
yeah,
Yeah,
and that's
Chris says the key to setting up a car is knowing how the driver drives the car.
yes, sir.
That's a good
That's
point right there, Chris.
a lot of
Chris would know. Yeah,
yeah.
Chris, you missed it earlier. We was talking about your Dukes of Hazzard story at Northwest Florida.
Now, with the Pure Stock car, I will go on and give a sponsor shout out for it. That would be my uncle. We went and bought four tires this weekend for the Pure Stock. Bought some Hoosier tires, and my uncle, he helped contribute with that. He's helped contribute a lot. He's come and helped me work on the car a lot. That's Mr. Ansley Hook. So him and his wife Edna. They actually helped me get my tires for the pure stock car. We went and bought four. The guy actually threw in four more and give to us. So yeah, I looked at some down there in Bruton this weekend. I'm probably gonna buy some when I go back to Second. Buy some new ones. Uh,
That's funny, Chris. Thanks to Tommy Lowry showing me how it's done. He taught you well, didn't he?
I mean, the key to racing is, like he said, you gotta you gotta want to do it. I mean, if it's quit being fun, need to just hang it up. That's
That's
one
right.
thing we were talking about. My aunt and uncle. I was over at their house a couple of days ago, and I go help him out a lot. We was over there talking, and both of them looked at me and they said, we're proud of you. And I said, for what? And they told me, with the racing, uh, my uncle, he's done it for the longest. He's run Flomaton down there. That used to be his track. Brooklyn, they run all them tracks. And he actually told me, he said, I am proud of you because, my aunt says, yeah. And she says, I got up for work that morning and air conditioner was going. The house was cool. She said, when I come in that evening, the window was open, the air conditioner was gone, the house was hot. I looked over there and I said, what happened to the air conditioner? And my uncle looked at her and said, I sold it so I can go buy some new tires to go racing this weekend. And he said, I am so glad that you ain't done that yet, which I was the type, if I didn't have the money to go racing, I wouldn't go, push it to go. There's always another weekend, you know.
That's dedication right there. When you sell your air conditioner to go
That
racing,
is dedication. That is
that is
dedication.
rated R for redneck right there.
Now I ain't gonna lie. I have come in and the light bill be in the mailbox, and I'll be like, well, okay, if I pay the light bill, I ain't gonna be able to go racing. Let me call and get an extension on it. And I call the power company. Hey, can I get this put off till next week? I'll pay it next week. But you
That's
know,
funny.
if I didn't have the money and I had a bill that had to get paid, I done learned you start putting racing before family, you just have some problems.
That's
And
right.
you know,
And Chris says they can set it up, but Dougie's a heck of a driver. Man, Dougie could win a race backwards blindfolded.
yeah, he could. He could. I'd tell you another one that can, and that's they call him the McKenzie Missile, and that's Shep Lucas. Now
Oh, look, Shep
that man,
Lucas. You could put him in a junior slingshot in a super late model race, and and me and me and Scott Sessions was talking one night, and Scott Sessions he knows I love my Chuck Norris jokes because I always got to tell him about 100 Chuck Norris jokes. Well, one night I told him one. I told him I said I don't know if it was this one or which one it was, but it may have been this one. I said, Scott, I said, did you know that before the Black Eyed Peas met Chuck Norris, they were known as the Peas? And he lost it. And then he says, did you know that Chuck Norris can win a super late model race on a go kart?
yeah, yeah, that's
Shep Lucas reminds me of that.
yeah. I mean, I've seen that man drive some. I've watched that man jump in a car that they couldn't get to halfway, go around the track and make a complete lap, and him get in it and take it all the way to the front. First three laps,
So before we end this show here, I got a song I'm gonna play for you, and I want you to tell me what you think. So my racing podcast on Thursdays, I play this song, and it's called Another Minute. And I wish I had the video in here. I'd play the video, but it's by Christian rapper. His name is Redeemed, and his full name is Josh Richards. And he was on my show a few months ago, and so I use this song as my theme song for the show. And so I work with uh, Chris says, wait till I put this factory stock in the lead with the street stocks. Hey, you can do it. I know you can. You finished third one night. at Deep South with all them street stocks. But anyways, so I work. For those that don't know, I work with a Christian radio station, Quake Radio, which is the if you see the banner scrolling at the top of the bottom of the screen, that's the radio station I work for. And being a beacon of light in the darkness is one of the slogans. And then the other slogan is where music is therapy, which is pretty good. And so we play a lot of, I'm the marketing director, so we play all kinds of underground Christian rap, Christian rock music, Christian worship. And this guy, I think I've got him on the rotation. And I want you to tell me, this is one of his new songs here. And some of you may not like it, who knows, but we'll see. Let's see, I got it on this list here. There it is. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You may have.
Oh, I don't want to waste another minute. Every step I know you're with me. I've been walking for a while down this road of redemption. Called on you, Jesus. I'm so thankful that you made a way. Cause I was always running, acting stupid, getting lost in confusion. Played the game, was always losing, didn't know what I was doing. Defeated, I was broken, suicidal, feeling hopeless. I was so far away from the truth. Going 100 miles an hour, there was no speed limits. Had a stone cold heart, wasn't worried about forgiveness. Too focused on myself to hear God's voice calling me home. I thought I'd made too many bad decisions. Thought I made way too many mistakes. I thought I spent too much time worrying about all the things I couldn't change. Thought that I was too far gone from mercy. Thought I'd wasted way too many days. Thought I spent too many long, cold, dark nights digging my own grave. But you showed me mercy. You showed me grace. And in that moment I knew how that harlot felt when they dropped those stones and walked away. I don't wanna waste another minute. Every step I know you're with me. I've been walking for a while down this road of redemption. Called on you, Jesus. I'm so thankful that you made a way. Cause I was always running, acting stupid, getting lost in confusion. Played the game, was always losing, didn't know what I was doing. Defeated, I was broken, suicidal, feeling hopeless. I was so far away from the truth. Going 100 miles an hour, there was no speed limits. Had a stone cold heart, wasn't worried about forgiveness. Too focused on myself to hear God's voice calling me home. Then I found you, you picked me up. You changed my name and you filled my cup. You carried that cross for me on Calvary that day. And I can't wait to see your face and hear your voice when you say, welcome home, my son. And you open up those gates. And I don't want to waste another minute. Every step I know you're with me. I've been walking for a while down this road of redemption. Called on you, Jesus. I'm so thankful that you made a way. Cause I was always running, acting stupid, getting lost in confusion. Played the game, was always losing, didn't know what I was doing. Defeated, I was broken, suicidal, feeling hopeless. I was so far away from the truth. Going 100 miles an hour, there was no speed limits. Had a stone cold heart, wasn't worried about forgiveness. Too focused on myself to hear God's voice calling me home. And now I'm home.
So what you think of that?
Man, I love it. That's a good song.
So let me pause it.
There's a lot of meaning in that song.
Yes, and if you watch the video, man, and shout out to Brad Gill there with 3030 Ministries. He was on last week's phenomenal guy. Y'all check out 3030 Ministries on Facebook or go to 3030ministries.com. That song is, wow, if you watch the video, it's got his whole family in the video. And he's got a powerful story of how he became a Christian rapper. He's only been a Christian rapper maybe a year, if that.
I mean, that's that song I wrote. Danny helped me come up with, put it all together. That's my God. To me, I basically sat down and put everything I went through with my life history, my problem with the drugs, all that was put toward that song. And it basically, through the whole time of it, he like, there's a part where he's talking about it, where I felt like I was at my lowest of my life, didn't want to live. And, it's basically saying, he ain't gonna turn your back on him. I basically in the song said that, I turned my back against you, or, and went on, but then to come to find out, he never turned his back against me. He never turned his back to me. He's always had his hands. It basically said, you've reached out with your nail scarred hands and told me, you've always been here. I mean, it basically, my song's about like that. It's just basically saying all I went through in my life, and I love it. I mean, it's a real good song, that for sure.
Wow,
I'll
that's cool.
I'll try to get Mr. Danny, if he sings it again. We go to church, and if he sings it one morning and Sunday, I'll see if I can get it recorded on my phone or something and let you listen to it. I mean, it's
Yeah,
a
that'd be great.
um,
I mean, that is super cool that you wrote a song. Like, not many people can say that.
yeah, I never thought I would have, but I did. I handed it to him. I said, I wrote this. See what you think. And he shortened it. When I handed it to him, it was about four pages, four notebook pages. He said, that ain't a song. That's a book. But we basically took all of it down and shortened it down and made a good song. That's my God. And, he's basically, my song's basically telling everybody, hey, you could turn your back on him, but he's never going to turn his back on you. He died for us, and most people, they don't see it that way. I've had people tell me, well, God, hates me, Hey, just because he don't give you the $250,000 you asked for, he don't hate you. You ask for a new car and you don't get it. He don't hate. God has a plan for everyone. And when it comes time for that plan, then when his time, it's not what you want or when you want it. It's when he thinks you want it or thinks you need it.
Exactly.
It ain't that,
And,
okay. I wished I could get a brand new race car. I've never wished it. I've been happy with my race car since I've been racing it. Sure, now I see some here and there, and I'm like, man, I wish I had that. I like that. And then, with the ordeal with how I got the new one, when it was my time to have that new one, he placed it there for me. And he did.
and
He did.
like, and Danny Cheek says, "How about this Sunday?" And then he says, "God gives us what we need when we need it."
When we
And
need it. Amen.
so this is something, like, I've had this discussion with Robbie
I mean,
quite a few times, and I always tell people that say, if somebody's going through
you take,
something.
with my ordeal, with the car I got now, I went down there. I went to this man's house to look for a motor, Mr. Bo. He give me a trailer. I mean, just give me a trailer to haul my race car on. And I went to his house to look at a motor. I had all intentions on turning my car, the old 330 car, into a pure stock car. And I said, well, I'm going to go look at a motor, see about getting a motor, we get it built. And, I talked to him and he tells me, well, I got some, come look at them. And we drive down there, we look at the motors, and, they ain't what he was told they was. And he felt bad for telling me, to come down there and look at these motors. And I told him, I said, look, Bo, I said, man, I said, it ain't a waste of trip, man. I said, I got to see you. and I got to see your new car you was building. I told him right then, I said, look, I said, if you decide to sell that car, I want first options to it. He says, okay. And, that was Saturday before Easter. I go home and I get up the next morning and we go do our Easter sunrise deal with the church and I come home and I'll never forget it. I just get out of the truck and my brother calls me and he says, hey, are you sitting down? I said, no. He says, well, you need to sit down. And I said, no, what's wrong? I mean, me thinking something's wrong with him. He's like, uh, I just want to let you know, Brother Bo died this morning. He passed away. And, I mean,
Wow.
that hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, what? I mean, we was just there yesterday visiting with this man. We got there at 12:30 and didn't leave till late that evening from sitting and talking with him. And
Wow.
then, I get up, his sister gets up with me, and they find out that I was willing for the car, and hey, I go down there and get the car. So, hey, I mean, I guess that was God's deal, to give me the car. I
Wow.
and it's hey, it's a memory. It's a Bo Bell car. It's gonna have them memories, Bo Bell on it. I'm gonna run his number, and I just feel that's what he would want to do with it. So,
And Brad Gill says, I like this. God's plan for your life is better than anything you can come up with on your own.
that's it. Yes, sir. That
Brad,
is,
you are so right on that. Like
that is the best way to
God's not, and God's not a magic genie in a bottle. You
nope.
don't rush God. I'm tired of hearing people say, "Well, I'm not getting any younger. I need to hurry up. This is gonna happen." I said, "Look, you got to trust the process. You got to trust. If He can create the earth in 7 days, surely He can fix
Mm,
whatever you're going through. But you have to give it to Him." And the
I've
Bible
heard,
says, Bible says, don't give part. Don't give 1 3/4. Don't give 5 4/16. Every
give
bit of it, all of it.
all. I've had so many people, tell me, well, man, I'm tired of my life. I've got to work all the time to pay for this and work all the time to pay for that. I don't get to enjoy this. I just don't get to have this. And I mean, I was talking with a boy a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about it. And I looked at him. I said, "Man, I said, I want to ask you something." He said, "What's that?" I said, "Do you go to bed every night wondering where you're gonna eat at? What you gonna eat the next day? What you gonna eat before you go to bed?" I said, "Do you ever wonder what it, I mean, you go into a house, the roof don't leak on you. You're able to turn lights on." I said, "You don't have to worry about where your next meal's coming from. I mean, you're working. Does it ever occur to you that's God? I mean,
That's exactly right.
you wake up the next day, you're able to put your feet on the floor and take a breath. You're able to to open your eyes. Hey, the way I see it is God can stop that any minute. He can say, "Hey, you feel that way, then keep your eyes closed. That's it. You're done." I mean, I just feel that that's the way it is. I mean, I'm thankful every morning that I wake up. I'm thankful for every day that I get to come home safe. I'm thankful for every bite of food I put in my mouth, whether it's peanut M&Ms or a Snickers candy bar. I mean, I've been through so much that I'm thankful for what I got. Growing
Because
up, I
you
never
can,
had a lot, but I was thankful for what I have and what I have.
because you could be like those people in Florida and North Carolina that the hurricane just destroyed everything.
Yeah,
We
and
take things for granted nowadays, you know.
every day. Yeah.
So we're here at the end of the show here. So you wanna say a prayer to lead the show out and you want to thank anybody else you want to thank?
Yes, sir. I mean, I could thank a lot of people.
Well,
uh, I'm not very good at saying prayers. I say them to myself most of the time, Mr. Jared. So I, I guess we can
if
go
you
for it. Though.
if you want me to say one, I will.
Either way, I've always say them to myself. I mean, I've said some out loud. If I'm to myself, I'm just that. It's however you want to do it. I can say one, or you can say one.
I tell you what. Well, you say whatever comes to your mind.
All right. Dear Lord, we come today to thank you for this day. Thank you for all the other days that we have had. We thank you for many more days that you will give us. I thank you for everything that you have done and give me and help me with and help me through, dear Lord, knowing that you are the one that died for us to keep doing this. And I would like to thank you for every breath that I can take, every bite of food that I put in my mouth, Lord. I would like to thank you for. We ask you for many more days to come. All this ask Jesus' name, say amen. Amen.
Amen. That was really great. Thanks, Brad Gill, Danny Cheek, Chris Hartman, everybody that Dougie, everybody that watched and commented, your wife.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
everybody that shared. Like we've had a lot of people tune in tonight, the in and out, which is really, really great. The more people that watch this, the better. And it's only gonna grow because this is episode 61. Wow, I've done 61 of these. And man, and then on my racing podcast, it's presented by the Race Safer Fuel Arrestor, the number one fuel safety device in racing. If anybody's interested in a fuel safety device, hit me up. I can give you information. You can look us up on Facebook and TikTok at Race Safer Fuel Arrestor. And we put God first in what we do over there. Thanks, Robbie Johns for helping me. And my racing podcast, God first, safety second, then racing in that order.
Mr. Jared, I think you just gave me my saying for the back of my car.
Really?
Yes, sir. God first. I
Hey,
think I am going to put that. That is going on the back of my car.
yes, do
Now,
that. That is
you said it. Now, I mean, I was like, yeah, there he goes.
so cool. Yes, do that because you don't I've never really seen anybody put God first. Like I love the Cartwrights how they put on the back of their car they put follow the leader Jesus. But I love
Yes,
that God first. You could even add your favorite Bible verse reference behind it.
I sure will. And across the front, you put them shades across your front of the top of the windshield. All
Yeah.
right. Mine's gonna say 316. It's
Oh,
all it,
nice.
if you don't understand what 316 is, the best thing I can tell you is get the Bible and read it. Because it is a good verse too. And that's
John 3:16.
on 316. That's it.
For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, for
That's
those
it.
whosoever perish should have everlasting life. And
Yes, sir.
yeah, that
Yes,
that's
sir.
uh
But
that's awesome.
when you'll know it when you see it, because just look at the back of it. It's gonna say God's first.
That's great. All
That's
right.
it.
Well, we'll see you later. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
I sure will, Mr. Jared. I mean, I don't know how many people are. I don't know. It probably ain't a good thing, but I would like to say I'm just an old poor boy racing. I mean, if anybody would like to help sponsor my car, I don't ask for much. Just I'm not out to get rich off of it. I'm not out to get a rich sponsor. A man the other day said, "What can I do to help you?" I said, "Hey, look, a tank of fuel, a couple of tires, a hot meal somewhere, fine with me." Uh,
Heck yeah. Can't beat
either
that with a stick.
no, sir. But I
It's a rolling
enjoyed this.
billboard.
Yes, sir. I have enjoyed this, Mr. Jared. Maybe we get together and do it again.
We shall. We'll see y'all later. Thanks for sharing, everybody.
Thank y'all.
God loves
Bye.
y'all.
God loves you too. Bye bye.